Hey there guys, what's up? It's time for another PBR battle. Because, as I said last time, I was stuck in a three-way tie now. So here's my battle with ssbbpokemon to break that tie, and I lead off with Jumpluff and he leads off with Medicham. And that just calls for a sleep powder. And Medicham falls asleep, so yeah. I'm off to a good start. And then he switches out just as I predicted. However, he switches into Swallot, who really doesn't give a crap about Stun Spore. Because Swallot's not going to be outspeeding anything anyway. And then Jumpluff just U-turns out. Does crap damage, probably going to heal that right up with leftovers. And Jumpluff can return to annoy another day. And I bring in Registeel, who pretty much walls Swallot into oblivion. So Ice Beam, yeah, laughable damage. See, leftovers heals that right up, as does the U-turn damage on Swallot. Then I just go for Thunder Punch. I was hoping he was gonna switch, but apparently he did not. So that's a bummer. And he has Encore, so yeah, I'm real happy I didn't use Curse now. And his Swallot then proceeds to switch out. So yeah, he probably, yeah, Whiscash, he has a ground type. So now I'm forced to switch out Registeel. So I do that expecting an Earthquake, because that's the logical thing to expect, so bring in Jumpluff. And he actually went for Stone Edge, and thank goodness that missed. And then he decides to switch out Whiscash. And bring in that Swallot again, to take my Stun Spore. Yeah, this battle is really long, and it's not going anywhere fast. The raw file without all the waiting taken out was like 30 minutes or something. Anyways, Jumpluff needs to get the hell out of there again with U-turn. And this time I bring in my other Steel type, Jirachi. And he goes for Toxic, obviously doesn't work. And he heals right back up. Then he goes for Protect, probably to see what I'm up to. I was gonna go for an Iron Head. I don't know why, but I don't have Sand Headbutt on this Jirachi. Might be a smart idea to put that on. And then he switched out into his Heatran, which he also used in our previous battle. And Iron Head does nothing. So I switch Jirachi out, and I have the perfect counter for his Heatran, which I suspect was Spexed or Scarfed. My Porygon 2 traces Flash Fire, he goes for Fire Blast. Not gonna happen. So he's obviously, because he switches out his Heatran, I'm going to think it's Spexed or Scarfed, because it's locked into Fire Blast then. So I was gonna go for Thunderbolt. Get a critical on Swallot, still does nothing. Or barely anything. And yeah, I don't want Porygon 2 to get poisoned, because that nullifies its walling potential. So bring in Shaymin, who has Natural Cure, but he gets Parahack. So, yay! And then he obviously goes for another Protect. I really hated that Swallot. It was such a pain in the ass. I was gonna go for Earth Power, but he protects. Yeah, and then he switches out his Swallot again, because he obviously wants it to wall another day. Brings in his Sleeping Medicham. Shaymin goes for the Earth Power, and pretty much wipes out Medicham. Next turn it's gonna die. Doesn't switch out his Medicham's Death Fodder. So yeah, that's nice, because Medicham could have been a real threat to Porygon 2. So that's really helpful that that one went down already. And then he brings in his Heatran again. And he expected to switch to Porygon 2, so he also immediately switches it out again into his Ludicolo. So yeah, I switch out to Porygon 2. But I don't really think his Ludicolo can do much. I mean, just look at this, he goes for Fake Outs. Yeah. I'm gonna heal that right up with Leftover, so that's just a waste of a turn. See? All good again. And then he goes for Leech Seed. And I'm like, crap, that's not good. But I managed to get off a Thunder Wave, screw over his Ludicolo. And then I probably have to get Porygon 2 the hell out of there, because I don't want Porygon 2 to get his health drained. So, switch him out. Let's bring in Jirachi for some reason. He gets Para Hacks. Don't know what he was gonna do. I go for Thunder Punch, expecting like a switch into Heatran, maybe with Serene Grace, like maybe paralyze it. He goes for Leech Seed, he misses. So yeah, I'm really getting a lot of hacks in this battle. Jirachi, don't want him to get Leech Seeded, so bring in Jumpluff. Goes for Hydro Pump, misses. He really cannot catch a break. It's tough to be SSBB Pokemon. So I go for Encore, get him stuck into Hydro Pump because he might have had Ice Beam and he gets Para Hacks. Because if he had Ice Beam, Jumpluff would have been screwed. So it's time for a U-turn. Switch into something that can take multiple Hydro Pumps. And preferably knock out that Ludicolo. Because I do not want Porygon 2 or Registeel to get Leech Seeded. That's not gonna help them out very much. Bring in Shaymin. Goes for the Hydro Pump. Does minor damage. So, yeah, this is gonna work out. Shaymin go for Ultra Super Seed Flare. And it almost knocks out Ludicolo. Takes some Life Orb recoil. Goes for Hydro Pump again. And Shaymin's getting awfully low on health, so he only has a few more attacks to go before Life Orb kills him. So we'll go for Earth Power, predicting a switch into Heatran, but he didn't. But Earth Power knocks out Ludicolo nonetheless. So it's all good. And then he brings out his Heatran, which is causing me to believe that it's Scarfed if he keeps bringing it in on a Shaymin, because Shaymin's obviously faster than a non-Scarfed Heatran. So I traced the Flash Fire again and he went for Dark Pulse instead, which is rather laughable on Porygon 2. So yeah, he immediately switched back out, obviously fearing the Thunder Wave. Brings in that blasted Swallot again, expecting the Thunder Wave, which he did very well. Some leftovers, recovery, and then I switch out again in fear of Toxic. Bring in Jirachi for some reason. He gets Para Hacks again. I'm really getting lucky with that. Though I really don't know what his Swallot was gonna do. Anyways. And I switch out into Shaymin expecting a Protect. But he went for Encore, which also works. Anyways, I got Shaymin in safely. And then he protects. It's like, give me a break. So yeah, my Earth Power is probably gonna do quite some damage to it. There we go, Earth Power. Yeah, that's pretty good. However, he's going to go for an Ice Beam now and kill off my Shaymin. So yeah, that's my first Pokemon down. So it's 5 Pokemon for me and 4 for him, I think. Yeah, he lost Medicham and Ludicolo. So then I bring in Jirachi. And he was going to go for Protector, but he got Parahack. So yay, free attack opening. Unfortunately, Iron Head doesn't do all that much. If I had Zen Headbutt, I could have taken him out right there. But no. And now he goes for Protect. Wants to be annoying. Yeah. Just hurry the freak up. And then he switches out Swallot again. Wonder what he's gonna bring in. It's his own Jirachi. Yeah, we have a tendency of bringing the same Pokemon. In the last match, we both brought a Miss Magius. Now we both brought a Jirachi. And he takes my Iron Head pretty well. So it's time for switching out into my Porygon 2. Because he's a pretty good special wall. And Serene Grace can be a pretty helpful ability with Thunderbolt and Ice Beam. He goes for Thunder. Does okay damage. Doesn't get the paralysis despite the 60% chance of that happening. So, yay. And then goes for Draco Meteor. Don't know why really. And Porygon 2 just barely survives. And I immediately recover, which means he's not going to be able to knock me out because his special attack just went through the floor. So yay, I'm doing really good now. And then he switches out that blasted Jirachi. Brings in Swallot. And this time I'm going to go for a Thunderbolt. Which does really good, or not really good damage, but it's enough to knock him out in the next turn. So he heals up with leftovers a little bit. And just in case he wanted to switch into Whiscash, he went for Ice Beam. Has the same power, so it doesn't really matter. And knock out that blasted Swallot at last. So yay. Not really doing all that bad now. Then he brings in Heatran again, which gave me quite a dilemma because I could not switch out into anything that could survive a Fire Blast because, yeah, actually 5 of the 6 Pokemon on this team are weak to fire. So I did not really plan that out very well. But I get my Thunder Wave off, Heatran's paralyzed. And I go for the recover. Hoping to survive another Fire Blast. Because you never know. And apparently, Porygon 2 cannot survive 2 Heatran Fire Blasts. So Porygon 2 dies. So that's a bummer. Now I'm stuck with my entire team that's weak to fire. So it's time to bring in Scyther. Go for Brick Break. Because I need this thing dead. And I get a critical just when I want it to. That critical saved my ass. Although Scyther had a Focus Sash, so it would have survived anything that Heatran shot at it and still knocked it out. He brings in Jirachi. I still need Scyther's Focus Sash, so I'm switching out to Registeel. Registeel is pretty much death fodder now. You can just like stall and set up. And he gets paralyzed, but Registeel doesn't give a crap about that because he's slow as hell already. Especially if he starts using Curse. So he switches out Jirachi, brings in Whiscash. Which I think are his last 2 Pokemon, Jirachi and Whiscash. So it's time to start setting up a Curse. Because Registeel's a pretty devastating endgame sweeper. With Curse, Iron Head and some other moves. And he goes for Earthquake, as expected. And that still did quite some decent damage. I'm not going to be able to be cursing up much more. or he'll knock me out. But I got my second curse up. And with that, I have managed to fairly deceive him, because he figured I'd just stay in and continue cursing. But I switch out my Registeel, bring in Jumpluff, expecting obvious Earthquake. I was correct this time. So now I'm free to put him to sleep. So yeah, that was quite a smart move on my part, if I must say so myself. But he has a Lumberry, and I'm like, no. Goes for Stone Edge. And Jumpluff survives, because Jumpluff is beast. And I just go for another Sleep Powder. I mean, hey, if it doesn't work the first time, just keep trying until you get it right. And then go for a U-turn, because Jumpluff can't do any damage on its own, apart from U-turn damage, which isn't much damage at all. So Jumpluff come back to Papa, and bring in Scyther to finish off Whiscash. This Whiscash is not all that bulky, really. Go for Bug Bite. And almost one-hit KO it. So it's going to die in the next turn, and that leaves him with only his Jirachi. And I still have 4 Pokemon. So he'll really have to try his hardest and get crazy lucky if he still wants to beat me. So Scyther, Bug Bite again. And I get another critical, even though that one probably didn't matter all that much, because, well, I still had 4 Pokemon. I mean, there's no way he could have taken out all 4 of them with just his Jirachi. And I live the Thunder thanks to my Focus Sash. Go for another Bug Bite, finish off Jirachi, and win this tiebreaker battle. So only one more battle to go, even though this one pretty much already secured my place in the second round. I still need one more battle to decide whether I'll be first or second. So see you guys later. Bye bye.